Hey, what's up, guys? Dedric and Krystal Polite, stars of 50/50 Flip on Hulu A&E, and we just landed in Vegas, and we are here for Ryan Pineda, the Wealthy Way podcast. We're sitting down with Brian Davila, so super excited.
So stay locked and loaded. This is definitely one you do not want to miss.
What got you guys into real estate?
So I actually got us into real estate. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in 2021. Grew up, single parent household, grew up in Section 8, grew up in a community that was plagued by drugs and violence. Didn't have that rich uncle, but I always wanted to own real estate and own buildings and stuff like that. So I read that book and it opened my mind to, all right, there's another way other than being an employee. So I knew I had to get over to that business owner, investor side, but I didn't have that person to kind of mentor me and show me. Went to college, right? What do your parents tell you to do? Go to school, get good grades, go out and get a good job with benefits. I went to Ivy League college, graduated. Got a job in corporate America doing pharmaceutical sales. Had a company car, had an expense account, all that stuff, but I wasn't fulfilled. It always came back to real estate. So when we met, my bookcase in my apartment was all real estate books. So I had read all these books, went to the seminars, but I was one of those education addicts where I never took action.
Oh, damn.
I didn't take action because I was afraid of failing. I was like, what if I fail? I grew up broke. I don't want to go back to being broke. What if I lose my shirt? And she's totally the opposite. So I was stuck in that whole analysis paralysis mode. And she's like, let's jump off the building. Let's grow wings on the way down. So I couldn't, BS anymore. Once we got together, she was like, we're doing this real estate thing.
How old were you when you started?
We met in 2009.
I was 29.
We're in our late 20s.
I was turning 29. I was about 28.
Dang. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting because I feel like a lot of people in real estate now, they're like starting very young. Like I've had 19-year-olds on here that make like 7 figures wholesaling and flipping real estate. So I started at 25, 26 and I thought I was like late.
Right.
I was like, kind of old.
We didn't get serious about it until we were like 35, 36, and we're in our early 40s now. When we
got really?
Serious about it. Yeah.
Well, we went full time into it. So before we were doing it with full-time jobs.
Oh, okay.
And we bought another franchise and we were still trying to do it. But I tell people when you're doing that and you kind of have a job already and you have careers, you kind of one toe in, one toe out. So it's kind of like, if I do it, I do it. If I don't, I don't, because you're already making money.
Yeah.
And for us, it was more so like, okay, one of us got to get serious about it. We're spending too much money. We're going into debt for coaches and mentors.
Yeah.
And 2018 is when I went full time.
What was like the final thing that kind of like snapped and made you guys finally like start having success?
Well, we joined the mastermind group early in our career. We invested in the mastermind. It was $16,000. We had not closed a deal up to that point. Even though we were trying to do it, we were struggling, right? Going on YouTube, listening to podcasts, trying to piece it. How do you wholesale these houses? How are these people doing it? So ready to give up. And we finally went to this mastermind. They were like, all right, 16 grand is going to get you in a room with millionaires who are full-time. I don't know how they let us in the room. They let us in the room because we spent 16 grand.
That money.
Right, to get into the room. And then we were going, every quarter we'd go out to St. Louis and go to this mastermind. We were the only one there with 0 deals closed.
Oh,
right? And it wasn't for a lack of trying. And I remember one time, like the third time we went out there, she was like, look,
we ain't coming back.
We're not coming back here having no deals closed. Like, we just now or never. And the next time we came back, we had closed like 5 deals.
Oh, damn.
And
we were looking crazy. That's really what it was. We out there looking crazy. All these people are we were the only ones in the room that wasn't full-time investors.
Yeah.
Everyone was a full-time investor. We weren't. We were going back and forth looking crazy. Everybody talking about, well, I only brought in $3.2 million this quarter. And oh man, I was only able to acquire 40 houses. I know I told you guys last time I was trying to get 60. And me and him looking like, we didn't even make 40 cold calls.
Yeah. But then when we finally hit that tipping point, that's when the floodgates just opened.
Yeah, I told him, we're not coming back. We will be at the house. We will chill out. Like, until we can move the needle in our business, we're not coming back out.
But it was that accountability as well, that peer group and that accountability.
It embarrasses you. It puts, everything on Front Street, right in your face to be like, okay, everyone's doing something in their business.
Yeah.
But you. And for me, that was embarrassing, and my ego wouldn't allow me to do that. So I told him, I said, we're not coming back, so we got to get serious from here on out. And from that point, we really just put plans into place and took all the advice from everyone in that mastermind. So people said, hey, put you guys selves out there. Document what you're doing on social media. I'm super private. which I know is weird for people to think now, but I'm super, super private. Dedric, he was like, hey, social media, start documenting. That's what they told us.
This was in 2017.
So Dedric was like, okay, cool. But my wife, she's the one with the, she don't really. And I said, you know what, if it's going to help us, let's do it. He started documenting our journey at that point. So people started to see that we were actually doing what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Then people said, hey, start in your backyard. Start doing deals in your backyard. And good thing is I didn't listen to that because Dedric was like, hey, let's listen to them. They said start in the backyard. I said, look, we're from Boston. We'd only lived there maybe 4 or 5 years.
So we're living in North Carolina, but we're from Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up there our whole life. I said, Boston is our backyard. We don't need to physically be there to know what's happening there. I said, so we're going to start in both. And our third deal was a virtual deal in Boston where we made what?
Virtual wholesale deal. We made $105,000 on one deal.
That was your first deal?
That was our third deal.
That was your third deal? You made
Virtual
$100,000 wholesaling?
Yep.
So now we were cash buyers.
Yeah.
Like we could literally buy properties cash. So literally we took that money and we bought like 18 units. We bought like 3 or 4 quadplexes, a couple of duplexes right away. And from that point on, it was off to the races.
What did you think, like, how much money did you guys make before you got into real estate?
So I was in corporate sales. I sold software for a big venture-backed company in Raleigh, and I was making 6 figures. I was making pretty good commission checks, but it was just soul-sucking. I wasn't satisfied, right? I was away 12, 14 hours a day. I would see my wife late at night or early in the morning, barely see my kids. So I just didn't like the corporate grind, and I didn't want to climb the corporate ladder. Now, some people, they're fine with that. But we were both making good money, but we were still living paycheck to paycheck. 6 figures is not what it once was.
Yeah.
Right now, 6 figures is like, all right, you barely middle class making 6 figures with inflation.
Yeah, I think I was probably at that time around 80,000 a year. Dedric was over 6 figures, and then for us, that was still paycheck to paycheck.
Interesting.
Looking at our expenses, we had 2 kids. We like to travel.
Yeah.
So with our lifestyle, it was still kind of like paycheck to paycheck. Now we were living comfortable, but for us, it was not a cushion. It wasn't enough for us to put something away for our children. It was no emergency fund.
Yeah.
So it's still for us just over broke.
Yeah.
We wanted freedom, right? We didn't want to be tied to a job. We didn't want to have to ask someone permission. Hey, can I go to my kid's soccer game? You got to ask your boss for permission. I didn't like doing that. Like, no.
Yeah. How much money do you guys make now flipping and wholesaling?
We don't we don't say that number. But
really?
we do pretty well. We don't have to, from our rental portfolio alone, we don't have to work if we don't want to.
Yeah.
We still
Is it
wholesale.
like 10 grand? Like, give me a range. What is it?
I would say a month. Are you saying like monthly?
Yeah. And I do it not to flex, but to inspire people, to let them know like what is happening.
So just in the wholesale business, are you saying?
Whatever you want to share, whatever you feel comfortable.
So I would say just in the wholesale business, it's probably 65,000 a month in just the wholesale. That's not including the other 6 streams.
What about the rentals?
Our rentals bring in, I would say, closer to where we're at now that we take home. I would say probably closer to 35.
That's a lot. That's a lot from rentals.
Yeah, I would say.
That's the American dream. If you were to ask any American, like, would you like to make $35,000 a month?
Well, we got a lot of Airbnbs too.
Yeah.
So we tell
Are you
people,
managing them?
No.
Yeah. So that's semi-passive income. It's not completely passive because that's not the reality of real estate, but you're making almost $100,000 a month. And I'm sure you have other income streams. So yeah, and I do it. I'm very open and, front about how much you can make, because I remember the first time I heard someone made $35K. It was my lender. He was like, yeah, we did $35K. And I was like, bro,
a year?
I was like, I swear on everything. I was like, oh, this guy sells drugs. Like, I was like, there's no way.
Well, that's the thing.
This guy
when I was
made
growing up,
35K.
where I grew up, the only people who made $30,000, $40,000 a month were drug dealers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once we learn this information, the specialized knowledge of how to assign contracts, how to do creative finance deals, how to flip houses, they don't teach you that in college. Once we learned that, that opened up the key to be able to make this type of income.
Yeah. I remember, so like little background, when I got into real estate, the year before I posted my tax returns, I made $38,000 the whole year before I got into real estate. So, and I was working 2 jobs. I had a job that I worked at night where I cleaned bars from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then I would rather sleep in my car or just go straight to another job and work selling drinks at the pool. Wow. And I did that. And I went to college and I owned a small business that failed. So when I got into real estate, I met a realtor that's like, yeah, I make $65K a year. I was like, damn, you make $65K a year working one job? That's a good job. Like, holy crap. So like, again, I just do it because I'm just very open because I just want people to know what's possible. Is it easy? No. Like, can you lose money? Yes. Yeah, a lot. But it's possible and you don't need like a diploma. You don't have to be I'm a freaking high school dropout, half dyslexic, bald guy doing pretty good, with with a crazy beard. So yeah, but I guess what was it like going from making 6 figures a year to like 7 figures a year? What had to change for you guys to start making that much money?
Mindset.
Yeah, our mindset. That it was possible.
Yeah.
Like for us, it wasn't even like it's possible. Because even for me, like I remember in Boston making 6 figures. It wasn't until Dedric had first saw like one of my tax returns and I made like $102,000. I had 3 jobs though.
Damn. 3 jobs.
3, no
you
kids.
Slept 3 hours a day. Like overworked.
Literally. And I had no kids. I was in my 20s. Single.
So you're averaging like 35 kids.
Well, she was supporting a lot of family members. A lot of family members were.
My apartment was 800 square feet? Mm-hmm. Like, and I was working 3 jobs though, and still didn't realize that I was making that much because I didn't see any of it. So for us,
taxes,
and we're in Boston. So Boston, Massachusetts, if you don't know, is one of the most expensive places to live.
Oh damn. Ever.
And for us, I think for me, it was just like, if we could make, for me, it was like, if we can make, $250,000, I think we're going to be good.
Yeah.
We get to travel. And then within a year, we saw like, oh shoot, our portfolio alone is like 1.2 million. And me getting into real estate, my goal was 2 properties. That's all I wanted. I wanted 2 multifamilies to give to each of our sons. Dedric was like, hey, I want 50,000 doors.
50,000?
Like, go get them 50,000, baby. I'm gonna be right here with you. We're gonna 10 toes in. But I was like, to me, I didn't see that as achievable. I was like, if that's what he wants, we're gonna go after it. Mine was like, I know we can get 2. So let's lock up these 2 multifamilies for 1 for each son. When they graduate college, this is their gift. They'll each get a property. You can either become an instant landlord for a property that's paid off, or you can sell it, take that money and start a business. That was my goal getting into real estate. So for me, I was like, this is achievable. Once I saw that, okay, 10 properties, 20 properties, 30 properties, 40 properties, 20,000, 30,000. I was like, holy crap, we can actually make $1 million. Once you get to that first million, after that, it's kind of like.
And to be clear, Brian, what we do is we're buy and hold investors. So the only reason we wholesale and flip is to take that cash and use that as down payments to acquire rental properties. Yeah. So most of our cash we take from wholesale and flipping, we buy rental properties to build up a portfolio. So we get active income is great. 6 figures a month. That was the first time we did that. I was like, damn, I used to dream of 6 figures a year. We made 6 figures a month like crazy. Yeah. But yeah, that's what we do.
How many properties do you own?
Our portfolio is probably like around how many units
close
now?
to 100 now.
100 doors?
Yep.
How many, what's like the split? Like how many are like Airbnbs? How many are just like regular?
So right now we got 4 Airbnbs. We got a bunch of single family homes, small apartments between duplexes, triplexes, quads. We have a mobile home park that's 37 lots that has a commercial storefront on it. We just closed on another commercial storefront. So it's a mix of mostly residential and some commercial.
Is it all in North Carolina?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So you guys believe in just investing in your backyard?
I mean, we own properties in Massachusetts. We've owned rentals in Cleveland, Ohio. We've owned in other states in various times, but right now we're concentrated in North Carolina. But we buy nationwide. So if someone sends us a deal in California, or Utah, wherever, and the numbers make sense, and it's a multifamily, or it's a mobile home park, or RV park, or apartment, we'll buy it. The numbers make sense.
Yeah, and we get a ton of deals, especially through the TV show. People are constantly sending us properties. They're just not deals. So they know we buy nationwide, but they'll say, hey, I got this apartment building, 4 units, and they only want 2.1 million.
Yeah.
Like,
That better be in San Diego.
It's crazy. So we get a lot of them, but they do know we will buy nationwide.
You want to talk about Don't Sell Big Mama's House? Those ones?
And we, for him, especially for anyone who, watches our show and stuff, we really preach don't sell Big Mama's house. So, and that came from just our generational homes, like my family's generational home being taken, Dedric's generational home being burned down, and teaching people the value in keeping these homes that they grew up in, their grandparents, their great grandparents, and seeing the value in it. Because when people see our show, they see these old houses, brick ranches, but they grew up in them and their parents grew up in them. So we teach them how to go in and capture that value again by doing some renovation and stuff. So,
what stops most people from building wealth?
I think is 2 things: mindset and then education. I think most people don't have the mindset. Like when you meet someone that's successful, that's at the top of their field, how they look at things is like totally opposite the average person. Like it's almost jarring when you speak to someone who's at the top of their game because they have a different mindset. That's number one. And then just the financial education, especially in our community, people are lacking financial education, right?
When you say our community, what do you mean?
In the Black and brown community.
Okay.
Right. Yep. Lacking financial education. So that's why we're big on just educating, because this information that we learned changed our lives. We were able to become financially free by implementing it. And our goal is to share financial education with as many people as possible.
Okay. So let's just start off with mindset, right? Because people hear that and they're like, okay, like what does that mean exactly? So like specifically like mindset wise, like what do people need to learn or like do to start making more money?
I would definitely say one of the things that was a game changer for us, which we kind of preach and teach, is your network. For us, it was getting around the right people and understanding the wealthy mindset, understanding the successful individual's mindset, not thinking I can't afford something, but thinking how can I afford this, right? What can I get to pay for this? And I know that because when Dedric and I got together, I've always thought I was wealthy, even when I was dead broke. But I would get with Dedric when I got with Dedric and I hear him say like, oh, hey, we cannot afford that. You can't afford that. Stop thinking about what we can't afford. And now
figure out a way for us to
figure a
afford
way for us to afford it.
Dang.
And it was more
and
so.
I needed that. She cracked the whip. And then I go and I figure it out.
And figure out a way for us to be able to afford it. And then getting around the people who poured into us versus taking from us, right? We were always used to being the most successful in our family, most successful in our friend group. And for me, helping even Dedric understand that his self-worth, right? And when he got fired from his first job, him understanding not to tie his self-worth into his net worth, right? That job lost you. You didn't lose that job. F that job. Let's move on. That was for a season. Now,
I was depressed when I got laid off.
Yeah, helping him understand, you're greater than this job, right? This is just a season. Now let's get around the right people. Let's get ourselves in the right environment to be successful.
Yeah. This is a random question. Are your parents still together, or how did you?
No, they hadn't been together
both
since I
products
was like 2.
Single family.
Single
households.
mom, but my mom was that mother, father, super alpha. And she had to be, because she had to be strong as a mother and a father. Moved from small town in North Carolina to Boston, Massachusetts, 4 kids.
Dang.
So I've only seen the image of a very strong Black woman. And I had to even understand when I got married to my husband that I didn't have to be as strong. and understand that, okay, you have help.
Yeah.
Because I was so used to seeing it done by just one person that I felt like I had to do it as well.
Yeah.
But I've always been, my mother tells people from birth, she knew I was going to be an entrepreneur, because at 4, when people would say, hey, what are you going to do when you grow up? And I'd be like, oh, I'm going to be an attorney. I'm going to own my own law firm, and I'm going to hire homeless people and train them to work in my law firm. I was saying it since I was 4, all the way up until I got to college and started producing and directing a stage play. So when I got with Dedric, by the time I got with him, my mindset was so far into the next stages of my life. That's why I told you our first date was a business meeting. Like
It was an interview. She was grilling me, just like she was grilling me. What's your 1-year plan? What's your 3-year goal? What's your vision for your future? What's your credit score? She hit me with that on date number 1.
Damn.
It was, are you an entrepreneur? Yes. Okay. What constitutes that for you? What have you done?
Dang.
Yeah. And I was kind of taken aback, but I was also, it was refreshing, right? Because I'm in my late 20s. I got it going on. I got a nice car. I bought my first house. But she challenged me. And she was like, look, I'm an entrepreneur. I need to be able to build with someone who has entrepreneurial instincts. Is that you, or am I wasting my time? We were like, we know the physical attraction's there, right? We like each other, right? But, it has to be deeper than that, because at some point the physical fades 10, 20, 30 years down the line. But my baby ain't fading at all.
At the end of the day, I told you, as long as I can talk to you.
Yeah.
But I was more so when it came to Dedric, I didn't care. We weren't going to talk about your favorite food on our first date because I wasn't planning on cooking it. I didn't.
She didn't cook. Matter of fact, in her apartment, her pan pot set had rust on it. It had never been used.
Damn.
And then I told him, I said, there's pots in there. And he was like, yeah, under your sink. I said, baby, them came with the apartment. Because I damn sure didn't buy no pots. When I moved in, I go to my mama's house.
Yeah. Now she's an amazing cook. Because we're married, we got 2 kids, so my baby chefs it up now.
Yeah, but I told him,
started dating,
when there's a ring on it,
once you put a ring on it,
you ain't got to worry about nothing. You're going to get fed every day. But right now, I'm in this different season in my life. And when we met, I said, are you planning on living here forever? We were in Boston. He was like, I ain't got to. I said, okay, because anyone planning on being with me is going to have to be willing to move in the next year. Yeah. I said, because I love Boston, but this is not going to get it for me and where I'm trying to go. Damn. And he was like, look, I ain't tied to it, so if we got to move, we got to move. And
moving to North Carolina is one of the best moves we've ever made.
Best moves ever, because you can't accomplish in Boston what we accomplished in North Carolina, and definitely not in the time frame from which we accomplished it.
Interesting.
I was 28. I was still living my best life, partying, promoting clubs,
Yeah.
So reluctantly, I went and did my own thing for like a good year. And then when I came back, I was like, all right, I got it out my system. I'm ready for a relationship. And she was talking to someone else.
Damn.
Yeah.
She cold, dude.
Cold as ice.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, go out for a year.
Funny.
And it wasn't like I was dating someone else, but I was still dating.
Yeah,
going out on dates and stuff with people. And I told him, when you're ready, come back in a year.
And I'm glad you did that, because we would have crashed and burned at that stage. I wasn't ready for a committed relationship.
And
I really wasn't.
I'm not into turning red lights green, right? And that's what a lot of women do. They ignore the red lights,
the red flags,
the red flags, red lights, and turn them green because it fits their narrative.
Dang.
I wasn't going to try to make him ready. I was going to try to make him.
Now, when I came back, she also ghosted me. She doesn't usually tell that part. So I'm trying to find her, get in touch. She ghosted, wouldn't answer my phone calls, was at home. I literally had to show up at her apartment. I saw her car outside. She wasn't answering the phone. And I don't do crazy stuff.
I only ghosted him because it wasn't a year yet.
Yeah.
So I'm listening by the door,
damn.
I'm like,
bro, that's illegal,
I was
brother.
like, yo, this is borderline stalking. I'm like, I'm not
that is stalking.
I'm not that guy.
Your ear at the door. You already crossed.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's how I knew it was love. I was like, I'm really in love with this woman, because I've never done this in my life.
But that's because I said a year. He was trying to come back in 8 months.
Yeah.
And I knew he wasn't ready. That was the thing. I knew he wasn't ready. I knew he still had to get a lot out of his system. And I was okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I said, by the time he is ready and wants to come back, if that's where God leads him, is to come back to me, then we can start building from there on.
Dang.
But if I made him ready, tried to make him ready, let me say that, tried to make him ready, we were going to crash and burn immediately because you got to know who you are. And I know I'm not the type of woman who can just deal with anything, right?
Dang.
You can't play in my face.
Yeah.
And then me look the other way. It'll never happen in a million years, right? So I needed him to be ready for the direction for which I knew we were going to go. I knew he didn't really truly understand his worth. And I know no one has poured into him to help him understand that because he was good looking. He was super educated. He had his own properties at that time, motorcycle, the latest car. So to Dedric, he was the man in town.
Yeah.
Super eligible bachelor.
Hell
Every female was after him. And
Everything you say is
him,
true.
I was like,
object.
well, when I met him, I was like, you all right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, and that's what I said to him. I was like, you all right? I mean, you okay? To me, I just didn't see this guy who had reached the pinnacle. I saw a guy who really did not know,
which is what I needed,
his true worth. He was used to coasting.
Yeah.
And I knew with just a little pushing and someone who could show him like, hey, I have your back. You ain't got to carry this burden alone. We can build together.
Yeah, she held me to a higher standard than I even held myself. And that's what I needed, is that someone to push me in. That's my muse.
And from that point forward, when I said he had gotten fired, and to him and the background from which he comes from, especially education wise, getting fired was just like, what?
I didn't know about unemployment. I didn't know you can actually file for unemployment and get a check for sitting at home. I had a mortgage to pay. I was stressed out until she broke everything down to me. Like, dude,
come Friday, you're going to go ahead and file for this unemployment because you got to wait till the end of the week. Go ahead and file. Then you're going to take that little unemployment check and
$400.
You're going to go ahead and now truly go out and live your life and decide what Dedric wants to do. I said, don't worry about that mortgage. Don't worry about your bills. I will hold you down. But I want you to go out and find your true passions from here on out.
Dang.
Forget this job. They lost you. Now show them why they lost you. And from that point forward, within a week, he had already started his own consulting company. He had a teaching job at Harvard. 2 weeks later, he brought Airbnb to the table. Hey, we can Airbnb your apartment out. He's like, oh, but your brother lives there. I said, hold on. He did grab my phone. I said, hey, you got 2 weeks. I'm going to need you out my apartment. Dang. No, I'll start paying rent. Nope, too late. Sorry.
He was crashing on the couch.
I'm going to need you out.
Yeah.
He put everything together for Airbnb, and I followed his lead. What do you need us to do? Okay, boom. I started doing my research and followed his lead. And I tell people, we were only 2 months in dating. So it wasn't like we were a year, 2 years in, 2 months. But I showed him, I believe in you.
Dang. That's good. Were you older than him?
A year.
My sugar mama.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really? That's what we doing?
Dang.
I'm a year older than him.
Yeah. So what, in the beginning, like, what were some of the struggles of, like, being in a relationship and kind of, like, hustling and working together?
Well, in the beginning, when we first started dating, we went to couples counseling.
Yep.
When we first started dating. And it was her idea. And she was like, we need to go to couples counseling. And I was like, what you mean counseling? I'm not crazy. Like, what are you talking about? She was like, no, I don't think you understand. I'm not asking you. She was like, we're going to counseling. And then, of course,
if you want to be with me.
In our community,
dang,
you know, Black and brown community, if you go to counseling, sit on somebody's couch and tell some stranger your problems, like, that's frowned upon. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. What do you mean? But when we went, I went kicking and screaming. I did not want to go. I was like, this is stupid. She dragged me there kicking and screaming. By the end of the first session, I'm telling the lady all our problems. I'm like, she be doing this and she does that. And then she was like,
I'm looking at him like, bro, really? That's what we doing?
I was into it. I was like, yeah, I can see the benefit of
yeah.
I was like, really? But I told him the reason being is because I told Dedric, one, I knew I was going to marry him.
Okay.
And we were still only 2 months in, but I understood that. And I told him, and I tried to explain to him, you come from a single parent household. I come from a single parent household. Neither one of us has ever seen it done right.
Dang.
So how can we emulate that?
Yeah.
We would be setting ourselves up for failure, right? We need to make sure going into this, we know how to communicate with each other. And that's why I told him we have to go to couples counseling.
Yeah.
Not when we need it, but when we don't need it.
Interesting.
To help prevent that. So 2 months in just dating, I was like, yeah, we're going to have to go to couples counseling. I told him, I said, look, I love the Cosby Show. I love Good Times. I love all them family shows. But that's not reality for us. And neither one of us has seen a successful household with two parents.
Dang.
So I told him, to be with me, you're going to have to go to couples counseling.
That's
now,
wild.
You ain't got to go. But if you want to be with me, you got to go.
Where do you get so much wisdom from, you think?
I think my mom and then my brother. I had an older brother who really showed me the game when it came to men and understanding the male mindset.
Oh, okay.
And my mother when it came to just understanding life, business, who I was as a woman.
Your work ethic.
My work ethic. And me came to my brother, just him understanding, a lot of that when it came to men, I got from him and him teaching me that mindset of, when we got together, hey, the burden that you carry is not your own, right? And helping him understand that the weight of the world is always going to be on his shoulders.
What does that mean? The burden that you carry is...
So a lot of women get into relationships. And you get in a relationship thinking that that man is to carry the weight of the world, your relationship, your household, your finances, everything on his shoulders. Mm-hmm. And don't understand, as you allow him to continue to carry and pile on all of these things on his shoulders, you're breaking his back with no support. Support can't just be, I'm going to keep the house clean.
Oh boy.
Support can't be, I'm going to just grocery
Comments
shop.
about to go crazy.
No, but I'm saying, it
That's
can't be
interesting.
just that support anymore because we're living in a different generation, right? We're not living in our parents' generation when that was okay. Especially if you're not already making millions. Now, if your husband is already bringing 10, 20, 30 million home and you can stay at home, absolutely. I would love to have done that, right? But that's not the case for us when we got together. So for me to have thought, okay, you should be able to handle all of this on your own right now, and I should be able to look cute and just be flued out is unrealistic to me.
Damn.
And it's ironic that we're in Vegas where you see a lot of that.
But that's also why we were able to build. When people come up to us at these conferences and they're like, hey, I want what you guys have. I've heard your story. How do I get my wife in? How do I get my husband involved? We were able to build what we built in such a small amount of time because we did it together versus us working against each other. It was us working in the business together to get where we want. And then I told my husband it was his dream for real estate, not mine. So when he said, hey, I want to do real estate, but guess what? We can take this real estate once we accomplish my dream, take this, and then we can turn around and accomplish yours. And guess what? He made good on exactly what he said. We took this real estate a year, 2 years ago. He was like, hey, it's time. We took one of our properties that we acquired, sold it, and then bought the rights to a Sky Zone franchise, which is what I've always wanted. My goal has always been to own a chain of franchises, FECs, Family Entertainment Centers. Dave & Buster's, Sky Zones, any trampoline indoor park or water parks, anything where families can get together. That's been my goal, is to own chains of them. And that's what we did. So I tell people we did it because we were able to do it together.
Dang.
Right? We built it together, brick by brick. And it wasn't me relying on him to do it by himself. And then getting us there. Now, could he have done it? Absolutely. Would it have taken him longer? Absolutely.
Dang. That was so deep. It's so much to unpack right there. It's hard because in my relationship, my wife just stays at home and takes care of the kids. So every, relationship's like different.
And that's a full-time job.
Yeah.
But how successful are you? Are you making $60,000 a year?
Yeah.
That's why she can do that. Dedric and I started out. How could we do that? How can I allow him to carry all of that? And then I still want to look good. I still want to travel. I still want the ladies. I still want to be nice. And then I tell him, hey, but you're going to have to be the one to build this business. You're still going to have to be the one to do all of this real estate yourself. You're going to have to do all of this. And we're starting out together making maybe $150,000 combined.
Yeah.
Living in one of the most expensive cities in the world.
Yeah. What was the biggest struggle or biggest conflict there was in the beginning in just the business side? Like rather you wanted to do something, she didn't. You didn't think she was holding her weight. You did. She didn't. Whatever it is.
I think what it was the roles and responsibilities in a real estate business.
Yep.
So again, that mastermind we joined, they made us read a book and they gave us an accountability chart. An accountability chart broke down the 4 areas of a real estate company. You have marketing, you have sales, you have admin, and you have operations. And once we charted that out and we saw the different roles and responsibilities, I got to pick the ones that I was good at. Sales, some operation stuff. She picked marketing because she was more interested in marketing and managing the admin and our virtual assistants. So now we each had our own swim lanes, so we weren't stepping on each other's toes as much as we were before. I think once we figured out our roles in the business, that but that reduced a lot of, stepping on each other's toes.
Yeah, I think it was definitely that. I didn't choose marketing. It was more so I had
necessity.
Yeah, I had to choose it because I went full time in the business first.
Because I had a higher salary, so I
Yes.
wasn't just going to leave my 6-figure job. My last year in corporate, I made $160,000.
Right.
So I was making multiple 6 figures in wholesaling before I even quit my job. I kept my job strategically so we could acquire more rental properties from my W-2 salary.
Right,
Dang.
and I'm making 70, 80,000, and that's with a ton of overtime.
Yeah.
And so I went into the business full time, and I said I got to take the biggest part of the business off his plate, which is marketing.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up getting into marketing. But from the very beginning, joining that mastermind taught us to stay in our own lanes.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have a lot of the issues that a lot of people have starting out because we play to our strengths and we make sure that we don't cross into each other's lanes. So if I have to come to him with something that has to do with sales acquisitions, I'm coming to him even in the business as someone who's coming to seek his answer. Like, hey, listen, I'm thinking X, Y, and Z. What do you think? Because this is his area.
And since she's over marketing, hey, I think we need to do a new marketing campaign to generate more leads. Since you're over marketing, what are your thoughts?
What kind of marketing were you guys doing?
At the time,
In the beginning, driving for dollars was huge. So
Cold
driving
calling.
around looking for rundown, beat up old houses and then contacting the owners, cold calling, text messaging.
ringless voicemail when it was
That's
out.
taking it way back.
Bandit signs.
What about now? What do you guys do?
Now,
It's more so cold calling,
text
direct mail,
messaging, direct mail.
text messaging.
Driving for dollars is still big.
Yep.
And then, of course, online. We get a lot of leads from our Instagram, our social media, our YouTube, and then our TV show. A lot of people watch the show, and because of what we do, they contact us and say, hey, I saw your TV show. I want to sell you my house.
How much do you guys spend in marketing?
Not even a lot anymore.
Yeah, we're probably about, I'd say 10, 20 grand a month.
10, 20 grand?
Yeah.
So let's say your average deal, what does it look like exactly? Your average rental.
Average rental property, it's tough because we've converted a lot of our long-term rentals into short-term rentals. The reason being is because this long-term rentals generate $300 a month cash flow. If we spend $8,000 furnishing it and putting it on Airbnb or VRBO, we can take that cash flow from $300 a month profit to $1,000 a month profit, right? By converting it to an Airbnb. So we still have a ton of long-term, but we've converted.
Yeah, I'm about to say, if you're looking
short-term.
at our average deal that we're evaluating for a rental, they're typically anywhere from a 3.1 to 3.2, about $150,000-$160,000 that we're buying.
Purchase price?
Yeah, purchase price.
Yeah.
About $150,000-$160,000.
They're cheap.
Yes.
Yeah, North Carolina's cheap.
Yep.
I mean, the average property ARV in our area is $200,000 to $300,000.
That's ARV.
ARV.
Yeah.
We're buying for $100,000, put about $50,000 to $75,000 into it, and then
Damn, that's a
either
lot.
flip it or keep it as a rental, short term or long term.
So you're in it more than 80% of ARV.
Now,
Normally.
typically we're in for less than 80%,
Like you're in it usually 75 to 80%.
50 to 65%.
That's a purchase or that's purchase and rehab?
Purchase and rehab.
Oh, dang. So you're all in 60% of these properties.
That's the goal. And then don't forget, we do a lot of creative financing. So we have a lot of sellers who own these properties outright. We specifically target sellers who have no mortgages. And they may say, hey, Brian, I'm asking $300,000 and you offer them $160 because you're an investor and you got to get it at a deep discount to make money on it. And we come in and we offer them 160, but we also offer them 300.
Yeah.
And we say, hey, we'll give you 300, but we'll give you, here's how we'll do the structure of the payments. We'll give you 10 grand down as a down payment. We'll owe you 290. We'll pay you $1,000 a month for the next 20 years. And then whatever we owe you at the end of 10, 20 years, we'll just write you a check to pay off the remainder, right? And now we've owner financed. So we've gotten to the property for 3% down. Now we turn around and rent it and it cash flows nicely. So a lot of our portfolio is actually purchased through creative financing, seller financing.